Sony FDR AX33 versus the new Sony FDR AX53. The 33 was last year's model, and pretty much Sony's method of bringing 4K ultra high definition to the prosumer and pretty much average everyday person, as it started off at about $1,000 upon release. And then the updated version for 2016, the AX33, which is currently the $1,000 model, and the pricing on the older 33 has dropped approximately $200 to an average of about $800. Now, originally the 33 was meant as the lower cost version of the FDR AX100, which is more of a professional camera. There's a lot more bells, whistles, options, but there is one major difference: is these two models come with the Boss Optical stabilization system, which basically means it is a floating lens inside the camera. This allows the camera, or just as it sounds, optical stabilization. Basically, it's got like a built-in gimbal, whereas the AX100, with its larger image sensor and a few other manual controls that aren't present on the more consumerish prosumer models, have poor low light level shooting with the smaller sensors, but they do have that much greater optical stabilization than the AX100. Let's start off with the AX33. Has a 1 2/3 inch CMOS sensor with backside illumination, whereas the 53 has a 1 2.5 inch CMOS backside illuminated image sensor. The 53 actually has a smaller sensor. They both have the same effective pixels of 8.29 megapixel for the video, but the 33 has 20.6 megapixel stills, whereas the AX53 has 16.6 megapixel stills. Now, one thing I will note about that, the 53 has a newly developed Exmor R CMOS image sensor with pixels of approximately 1.6 times larger than the previous model of the 33. The new sensor has more stability with low light and produces less image noise. So while it has less overall megapixels, the pixels themselves are larger, allowing them to take in more light, producing less of the little grain, basically less grain, brighter nighttime shoots. And you'll get to see that after I'm done going over the differences in the cameras. I'm going to be doing a side-by-side shoot comparison in a number of different situations, including bright light and low-level light. The AX33 and the AX53 both have the Zeiss Vario Sonar T lens. However, the lens in the 53 is larger. They have a 35mm equivalent focal length. There is a 298mm for video, 536mm for video on the 53. The 33 has 268mm stills, whereas the 53 has up to 656mm stills. The filter size on the 33 is 52mm, where it is 55mm on the AX53. They both have optical image stabilization, a focusing distance of 0.4 inches or 1 centimeter to infinity. Maximum aperture of the 33 is 1.8 to 3.4, whereas it is 2 to 3.8 for the AX53. Optical zoom on the 33 is 10x, and the digital zoom of 120x, whereas the 53 has an optical zoom of 20x with a digital zoom of 250x. Video formats. Both have 4K at 30 frames per second and 24 frames per second. HD at 24, 39, and 60 frames per second. And standard definition of 30 frames per second. However, the AX53 has a slow motion mode, which the 33 does not have. And the AX53 is capable of up to 120 frames per second in 1080p. Available in 1080p only. Slow motion is not available in 4K. The bitrate, maximum bit rates for 4K are both 100 megabit and 60 megabit. HD is available in 60 frames per second at 50 megabit on both cameras, whereas 30 frames per second is available at 60 megabit on the 53, as is 24 frames per second. However, limited to 50 megabit on the AX33. Standard definition, 30 frames per second is 3 megabits. They both are capable of dual video recording, so that means you can record a lower definition copy at the same time as a higher definition copy. Still image, 20.6 megapixel, 10.3, 8.3, 7.7, and 2.1 megapixel on the AX33. 16.6, 12.5, 8.3, 2.1, and 0.3 on the AX53. Audio formats. Both have AA digital 2-channel and 5.1 channel and LPCM, whereas the AX53 has AAC-LC. Both are capable of recording in 5.1 surround sound at resolutions below 4K. A new structural design on the camera for the AX53 allows the microphone to gather clearer sound from 5 directions than the AX33. This will produce approximately 40% less noise and is twice as effective in 2-channel stereo. The shutter speed on both cameras are capable of 1/8 to 1/10,000th of a second. Both are exposure metering of multi-spot or multi-and spot. The displays offer the same quality and effective pixels. However, the AX53 features a capacitive touchscreen, whereas the AX33 features a resistive touchscreen. Most reviews miss that fact. However, no more using your pen to touch the buttons. You will have to use your finger or a capacitive touchscreen stylus. Both include the retractable viewfinders. However, both of them also offer the exact same screen size of 0.24 inches and the same pixel rate on the retractable viewfinders. For low light capability, and this is where the AX53 shines, figuratively speaking, whereas the lux required for the 33 and 4K standard is 9, the lux is only 1.8 for the AX53. Well, I take that back. The lux for standard on the AX53 is also 9. However, the AX53's low lux features 1.8 requirement for 1/30th shutter speed. Remember, those larger pixels allow the AX53 to gather more light, allowing for those clearer pictures. Now, the connectors, they both feature the microphone jack as well as the earphone out jack. They both have the micro HDMI out and one multi-terminal micro USB out. However, the one thing that I feel Sony has gone backwards with on the AX53, Sony has these nice built-in USB cables that tuck nicely and neatly away into the hand strap, and that enables the older cameras to not only charge and transfer data without having to carry around an extra cable. This time Sony decided to do away with that on the AX53, and while you can achieve the same results with the multi-jack as well as charging, I just find that as a slight inconvenience. That was really one of the biggest negatives. I use the USB pretty much for all my charging and data transfer from these cameras. It is slower than using a dedicated battery charger or plugging in the DC connector. However, it enables me to be able to use a standard phone charger when I'm out in the field or traveling instead of having to lug any extra chargers or cables around. Both do not have flash. Both include the multi-interface shoes. The cover on the 53 I found is a little more loose-fitting and not as robust as the 33. Both include Wi-Fi. The weight with the battery, considering same size battery, of the 53 is lighter than the 33, which is a nice benefit. However, the 53 overall feel seems a little cheaper than the much heavier 33. You're talking 1.44 pounds compared to 22.4 ounces or 655 grams to 635 grams. It is a noticeable difference. Physically, though, the 53 is slightly larger and slightly longer than the 33. Just to cover a few other points. In general, the software available on the cameras is pretty much identical, as is functionality. There's been some movement of items, whereas the multi-interface, earphone, and microphone jacks are on the side on the 33. You only have the multi and the microphone jack on the 53. On the 53, the headphone jack is hidden down here. Now the 30x zoom, clear image zoom, is much better and twice of that of the 15x zoom on the 33. The photo buttons and zooms are in the same spot, as are the record and stop buttons. You have the mode switch button right here. The mode switch button is bigger on the 33 than the 53. The microphone is in the same spot, however, it is noticeably larger. You'd have to shine a flashlight in there to see better than that. Manual button is still in the same spot. Both have the adjustable ring adjustment, which is programmable. Once again, 16.6 larger megapixels for the 53 compared to 20.6 smaller pixels on the 33. HDMI slot is in the same spot. The buttons for power, night shot, play, and programmable are in the same spots as well. The door for the memory card is smaller on the 53 than the 33, however, that does not make any functional difference in the cameras. You can tell noticeably the screw on the rings are larger on the 53 than the 33. The bottom are pretty much identical. They both also have the regular tripod mount. Both also use the same batteries. And the same battery capacities. So your batteries and equipment, much of your equipment will be backwards compatible. Now, also, recording time is stated by Sony to be the same, regardless of the camera. So both should have the same record time on the same batteries. Great if you have older and a newer and you want to use them together to film 3D content. I hope you were able to learn a little bit about these. Please stay tuned for the future.
Smile, cheese.